Welcome to episode 71 of the AA Travel Talk Show, a part of the AA Canada Travel website and a product of the AA Travel Marketing Group. How you doing there, Junior?
I'm doing great there, bro. Welcome everybody, and exciting show we got ahead.
Yes, today we talk with the great Canadian friend of the show, Dan LeFave, best-selling author, public speaker, and the best part, this is what I like, business coach with digital marketing and for entrepreneurs. And the nice thing about Dan, one of the most positive people I've ever met in every situation. So that's pretty cool, eh, Cole?
Oh yeah, very well educated and a great guy.
Yeah. Our topic with Dan is going to be learning from our mistakes. Some call them blunders, call faults, miscalculations, missteps, oversights, snafus, and a few of us call them opportunities. I'm really curious on how Dan takes a view of this with all of his accomplishments and with all of his coaching around the world. It's going to be nice to hear what Dan has to say. What great timing too, Call, because you know what? A lot of people who are regular followers of the show or follow our website, our blogs, or our adventure seekers that are out there know this, that in the last 2 years, it's been pretty tough on COVID tourism, Call.
Yes, tourism is, as everybody knows, is one of the biggest industries that's been hit. So it has been tough for everybody, and definitely a lot of brainstorming going on.
You got her. You can catch this episode of the A Travel Talk Show live, or you can catch it on our website's live travel talk community and on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn feeds. So if you can't get enough Dan now, you're going to get enough Dan later because we make it very easy for you. My name is Greg Gerard. I am a tourism whisperer, lover of small towns, and co-founder of ehCanadaTravel.com. And sharing the screen with me is my wonderful co-bro brother, Colin Gerard. Maybe you give him a little rundown of who you are, Junior.
Well, I am the keeper of the code, the make the engine work in the background, and also a lover of adventure and the outdoors and life in general.
Excellent. Some of us, a lot of our good friends, have tagged us with a really interesting moniker. We are called the Brothers of Tourism. Your maple leaf wearing, maple syrup guzzling, bannock eating, toque wearing Canadian tourism hosts of the A Travel Talk Show. Today, our guest is Canadian Dan LeFave, who is an award-winning author, public speaker, and business coach for online entrepreneurs and digital marketing companies, is joining us in our virtual studio to talk about what Dan has been up to lately, because Dan has been on the show before, but it's been a while. I think it's been too long because I haven't had a Dan fix for a while. I don't know about you, Call.
It has been forever. It's been, what episode was he on? Do we know? I mean, one of the earlier ones.
Yeah, it was one of the earlier ones. And what we found out when we were chatting and Dan in our virtual green room, munching on our virtual Canadian goodies and drink, is Dan has been a very busy man. So he's going to be telling us a lot of that. So a little bit of thing about you can connect with Dan on his website, LeFave Coaching, LeFave coaching.com, as well as on the Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. The nice thing about this show is we like to brag about our guests. So we're going to be flogging Dan's contact information, social media channels during the whole show. So you don't even have to think. All you got to do is get that little pen and paper beside you. Yes, that thing that's long. We used to use them a lot more now with computer, but you're going to have to grab that pen and paper, go old style, and write some of these addresses down. So if you have a question for Dan, the man LeFave, our favorite business coach, regular on the show, please write it in the comments section of this interview, and we will try to sneak it in. And I'm sure we're going to we know that a lot of you just like to sit back and enjoy our talking. I could see why. And of course, what we would like you to do is make sure that you interact with Dan either during the show or after the show, but get a hold of him, follow him. He's got a lot of good information. So let's please welcome everyone. Let's welcome Mr. Dan LeFave to the A Travel Talk Show studio. And here he comes, coming in to the talk show, Mr. Dan LeFave. Welcome to the show, Dan.
Good to be here, guys. Thank you.
Yes, we're always glad to have you. And Dan, we've had a lot of new viewers, a lot of new followers since last time we spoke. So maybe we can give them a little rundown about who is this great Canadian Dan LeFave and some of the projects you've been working on.
Well, certainly. Well, my passion is to distill things and break things down and pass down wisdom and understanding. So constantly learning, constantly studying, and I'm bringing solutions and systems to digital marketing agencies and online service providers. That's my area of focus, and it's fun for me. It's like playing, but for business owners, it's stressful, right? Like they don't know what to do, how to do it, where to start. And I just simplify all that down. I mean, Mark Twain said, take things that are complex, break them down into simple bite-sized chunks, and doable, something that's doable, and then get to work. And I do that, I don't know, just naturally. So it's pretty simple. So that's my core expertise and area of focus. And so it's about scaling businesses. I mean, anybody who wants to scale a business knows that it's not fun, and they have to bang their head against that invisible glass ceiling, that virtual ceiling. And they don't know that it's a glass ceiling until they hit their head against it a few times. But everybody's doing 100% of their potential, right? They're doing everything they can, but you know what? That glass ceiling's there. And, so I'm the guy that comes along and says, well, there was a glass ceiling. Didn't you see it before? No. Like, okay, well, those are your habits, limitations, practices, beliefs, your identity, your mental grooves, right?
Yeah. So, your mojo.
Yeah. And it's keeping you exactly where you're at. So 12 months from now, we'll probably have another conversation and it'll be the same. And they'll be like, oh man, I don't want that. So
perfect. So Dan, you're an award-winning author. You're a public speaker. You're the man that gets things done, a business coach who helps online entrepreneurs, digital marketing agencies with, as you said, scaling up revenues and improving quality of life. So maybe you can, if you wouldn't mind taking a bit of a second here just to share with us, what is a business coach in your eyes? What do you do? And how has coaching changed since the arrival of COVID? Has that industry changed?
Well, I'll answer the last question first. So no, it hasn't changed. In fact, it's busier because here's the thing. When emotions are high, which they are right now, right? Emotions are high, intelligence goes down. It's lower. So because people's intelligence is lower, they need more guidance. They need more accountability. So, try to figure things out on your own when you're in a high stress situation, right? Yep. Some people just bail out, right? So say, screw it, I'm not going to do this. So that's about the industry. So coaching is in more demand now because people don't know how to handle this. Not only that, they were trying to grow and scale their businesses and handle all the things before, but now there's so much more being dumped on them, and there's so much more in the media and things to handle and changes happening. Like last week, I was signed up for ice hockey. This week, I'm not. Why? Well, because they changed the regulations for entering the arena. And I said, okay, I'm not with you on those. Yeah. So, things are changing all the time, right? So, and in terms of business coaching, think of it this way. We use a metaphor. So I've had a friend that climbed Mount Everest. So he did 8 months of training and practice and preparation to do that. 8 months, not just, once a week, probably multiple times a week, maybe every day, training. Then they get there. And do you think they could just, strap their backpack on and their hiking shoes and climb that thing? No, they need a Sherpa. They need a guide, right? So that's what a business coach is. It's a guide. It's somebody who takes people to the different base camps, and all along the way, there's going to be self-doubt. There's going to be worry, like there's going to be, in climbing Everest, there's fear of death, dying. Right? But people still have the same fears about their business, losing everything. That's a lot of vulnerability, losing everything, or the humiliation of talking to their in-laws and they're like, you did what? And you need to live with us? Like, what? Yeah. your business didn't work. Like, what? Right. So, so a Sherpa takes people up to these different base camps, these different levels. And all along the way, there's something that I call habit gravity. And it's the habits that are pulling them down, sucking them down, saying, hey, just come back down here to base camp. There's hot cocoa. It's comfy. It's cozy. Yeah, comfortable, not too hard. You don't have to work very hard, down here at base camp, and we do everything for you, and that's it. And so I'm taking them up that mountain, and there's going to be times when things are tough. There's going to be times when they're pissed off, and I say to people, at first, what I'm going to say or what we're going to do is going to piss you off, but then you will, go through some hoops, go through some fear, and start moving forward, and then move towards more joy and excitement and satisfaction.
Okay.
I mean, here's the thing. We have 6 emotions. We have excitement, we have joy, we have disgust, anger, sadness, and fear, right? We don't like any of them except for joy and excitement, except those other ones need to be used, right?
Yeah.
You can't avoid them. They're there, right? So if you have fear, what do? Take it with you. Shove it in your pocket. Keep moving.
Okay. So a quick question off of that. If with this Sherpa Con, is it when you hook up with somebody, an entrepreneur, a digital agency, or somebody online that you're helping with their business around the world, is it like a scheduled thing, or is it when they need help, they can come and deal with it and get your advice, or is it like a scheduled process?
No, it is definitely scheduled. It is because it's accountability. That's the other thing. People are not self-accountable. They're not going to do things on their own. I mean, think about it. I used to teach spinning classes years ago, and people would come in January, February, March, right? And I'd see them come into the spin class, and I'd say, listen, are you here for the long run? Are you here for the long haul?
Yeah.
You really committed, right?
Yeah.
Do you have any excuses in your head right now or ways to get out of this or something like that? And I'm like, hey, excuses and reasons are like oil and water to results. So this class is about results. So if you're here for results, stay. Otherwise, there's equipment out there you can hop on and just do whatever you want, right? So, that whole fitness analogy is, the equipment's there, you got the membership and everything like that. Like, what can go wrong? Why, But the thing is, you need accountability. So if you get a personal trainer and the personal trainer says, here's your program, just do this every week. Next week, we'll check in, see how you did. And we'll measure your fat content or your waist or whatever, right? So we're doing the same thing. I have a 12-week planning system whereby we're measuring performance every single week. We measure performance. There's no joking about it. It's not for the lighthearted and for the flaky. Not at all. It's for people who want results and they're willing to pay to get it. People who pay attention. You realize it, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. They're going to definitely take. So from what I gather from our previous conversations, and of course, just following you on social media, as we've been posting online, all of Dan's social media. So make sure you use that old school pen and paper and write some of that stuff down. But you talk a lot about focus, mindset, success, entrepreneurship. However, as you know, Dan, many people in business and in tourism are experiencing a high rate of failures and challenges on so many levels. So how should a digital marketing or an entrepreneur, and especially because that's our wheelhouse is tourism, how should they be addressing these challenges that they're facing in a very tough industry right now?
Well, the approach that I take at everything is reverse engineering it. So, Steve Jobs gave us a good lesson, which taught us a good lesson, which is you can always connect the dots looking backwards. So I take an approach, why don't we reverse engineer it, right? So there's going to be milestones along the way. And honestly, we know that things are going to shift and this is going to lift. We know that COVID is going to shift and lift. We know that. Yeah. So why don't we look into the future and start reverse engineering what we want from there backwards, like assuming this is going to end. And perhaps we say, well, we don't know when. Well, who cares at this point to say, okay, it's going to end. So if it did end, what would I be doing at that point? And then work backwards. And there's something to do that leads up to that, because those are going to be the milestones that will take you to that end result. But reverse engineer it and start really thinking about what is it that I need to set up now to achieve that end result? Because we don't control what the government does. We don't, right? They can do whatever the heck they want. The World Health Organization could drop a bomb on them and they're like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. And then they change something and then we're like swallowing it, you know? So, and paying fines, like, whatever.
Yeah.
$5,000. Like we know somebody just paid a $5,000 fine. They came to the airport and didn't want to be tested. It's like $5,000. So
there you go.
Yeah. What is the government going to do with that though? That's the big question. So, but here's the thing. Reverse engineer it. Look into the future, because here's what most people do. they don't look far enough in the future. They don't look into the future and think about what if and start thinking about that and planning for that, because they're stuck on comparing what's happened and looking at what they're doing now and just comparing that and saying, if we have more of this, this is going to be horrible. This is horrible. Well, think about it as thinking, into results or thinking into resistance, right? Mm-hmm. Resistance is what we're doing by thinking things are going wrong. I don't know what to do. Maybe I should do something else. Maybe I should drop what I was doing, let it go. Or do I look into the future and say, okay, well, if this is going to shift or change, or I have to change what I'm doing, what would that look like? And what can I do? Because if we don't look into the future and plan for the future, it's only going to be a reflection of the past. Mm-hmm. That means everything we do from this point onward is predictable, which is no fun.
Yeah. So one of the things is, I'm sure you've experienced this, but I can guarantee, I know me and Colin have experienced this with our clientele and the people that we work with, is there's such an emotional up and down roller coaster. It's they have the high and the low. So with that, and there's so much physical, I guess, and mental aftershocks of this whole thing in our industry, because there is no help and there's a lot of businesses that are selling their inventories and so forth. So the big thing in how can people let go? And I think that's the hardest part. And I'm interested to hear what you say. How do they let go of this physical and mental baggage that they've built up during this whole episode of what's going on?
Well, again, it's what they're comparing, right? It's that comparison, right? It's like reflecting on what has happened and where things are going to go, and maybe even predicting horrible, things just getting worse, tighter and worse. So that's the first thing, is to stop doing that and start thinking about what's possible. What can I do? Or what, is there a small shift that I can make here? Like I was sharing to you before we started the show, a friend of mine, or a client of mine, he booked a trip to Switzerland. Why? Because I said to him, if you don't book it, it's not going to happen. There was all sorts of limitations as to why we would book it. So there are people out there that are probably hesitating booking and taking vacations. Why? Because they don't want to have to come back and be quarantined and all these restrictions and limitations, be separated from family or whatever, or have their family separated. Yeah. But if you look far enough into the future, it might be 3 months, 4 months, or whatever. And there's people out there that are aching to take a vacation or go someplace. Start focusing on those people, find those folks, start planting seeds for that. I don't know necessarily what kind of shift could happen in the tourism industry though, but in terms of, and I'm just thinking very simplistic here, which is, okay, so if you have a business and people are taking vacations, they need a channel and a resource or a tool to book a vacation or ideas, I'm just thinking like that, broadly, that's the focus of the industry. Well, what else can be done that can stimulate people's interests or get them motivated towards thinking about vacations more, or even booking something in the future, or I don't know what, like I'm not really familiar with the industry. I mean, if I was going to do something creative, I would say, well, find ways to have people taking virtual vacations or something like that, right? Like get them wearing their virtual goggles and stuff. It's not going to be the same touchy-feely experience, but hey, if you can get them, like, here's the thing about the mind, and this is something we're not going to dive too much into, but there's a part of our mind that doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not. So that's the subconscious, the unconscious mind. So if they put on virtual goggles, they might feel that that's real, and even if it was just something fun, and then guess what? That's going to stimulate them. They're going to be like, I really want to do that thing, and then they might get over their limitations of booking something. I had a client who, at the beginning of COVID, or around the beginning, or maybe it was partway through, she booked a vacation in Mexico. Yep. Then things weren't so bad. She was there for a week, and she's like, I'm staying another week. I told I just changed my plans. So I'm like, oh, good. Have a good time. I'm talking with her on the beach and we're having fun. Yeah. So
what the thing, I guess the thing is too, is like you're saying, is mindset for one, like change the way we're thinking and looking at things. And the second part would probably be is that I don't think enough people learn from their challenges or learn from their failures. I think they try to put it in the back storage room, lock the door, and hope it doesn't come around again, and hope it just leaves them. So how can anyone within any industry, what's the best format or the best procedure to learn from failures opposed to ignoring it or trying to forget it or lock it into a stored room? What would you say there?
Well, I think the key thing here is taking it out of the unknown, like the ether, in your mind. And that's what most people, like you and I think we were talking at the beginning, or maybe I just said it earlier, but Mark Twain talked about this, taking things that are complex and breaking them down into simple, manageable tasks. So here's the beauty of what's going on in our mind. We can take it and we can do a brain dump. And I like doing things called mind mapping. You don't necessarily need to do that, but just take a sheet of paper and just start writing things down. Don't write it. It doesn't have to be sequential order or line by line, but just start writing down whatever your thoughts are and whatever that failure was. Get those thoughts out someplace where you can see them. Because, and here's the catchphrase: thoughts become untangled as they pass through your lips and over fingertips. So that's why you have talk therapy, right? Which really doesn't do that much, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't think so. I've had it. I know, years and years and years. But when you write things down, it's different. You're taking it out of here. You're putting it someplace tangible. Now you have something, a bit of a roadmap and a history that you can look at and say, okay, well, what did I do here? What went wrong? Or what could I have done differently? Or you start asking questions around it. Or how do I feel about this? Or what mistakes were made that I won't repeat? And if there was mistakes made, heck, this is how I handle it. I would write a phrase that talks about how you repair that mistake and then sign it. And if there's anybody else involved, give it to them.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Like fully commit. Don't screw around. Like,
so unpack it, sign it, and confirm it, and move on.
Yeah, like a never again type mentality. Like, I've done this with my kids. Sometimes I repeat my parents' behavior. I'm like, that was not good. I could see it. That was a reflection of what I learned. And then what do? I write that statement. I'm like, this is how I'm going to handle things from now on. And you can call me on it right there. Signed it. Done. But you can do that. Go ahead.
Isn't one of the hardest parts with that, though, is people admitting they made a mistake?
Well, listen, mistakes are always going to be made, but they have to admit it. I mean, if they're not willing to admit it, then they have to live and die with it, right? So there's a dichotomy here: get busy living or get busy dying. And if you can't let go of your mistakes and you forgive and your failures, and all that, then you're basically you have real estate in your mind. The free real estate that's not being paid for, right? So not a good. I mean, if you think about it, we have so many hours in a day, and if your mind is being gobbled up by problems and situations and failures and mistakes that you've done and you haven't repaired or fixed, those are energy leaks. It's like having a wound on your arm that's open. It's like, should I bandage that up or just let it bleed? Well, let's bandage it up just because
it'll go away.
Yeah. So I scrubbed it. I scrubbed the scab and it's opened up again. Oh man.
Yeah, exactly. Stop picking the brain scab.
Yeah. Close the energy leak and deal with it and then move on. Right. I mean, how else do you learn? That's what learning is, right? Take the failure, learn from it, own up to it, put your tail between your legs and get going again.
Yeah.
I like it.
Life is too short to worry about things.
Yeah. Yeah, worrying is negative goal setting, as Jack Canfield said. So,
I like that one.
Nice.
What's that again? Worrying is what?
Negative goal setting. So I say that to my clients, and then I say, "Hey, would you set negative goals? Do you want to set? We can set some negative goals." And I'm like, "No, I don't want to do that." I'm like, "Well, what are you worrying? Why are you worrying then? Wipe that word from your vocabulary, please."
I like that. Okay, Dan. So before we let you go, is there anything? I know it's short and sweet, like we like to have it, but is there anything you would like to share with our audience before we let you go? Because I know you're a busy man. So the floor is yours. What you'd like to talk about?
Well, like I said earlier, emotions are high and intelligence is low. That's what's happening right now. Emotions are really high. People don't know what to expect. They don't know if they should trust other people and all sorts of things. We're all wearing masks and all these, limitations. So people's emotions are really high. So I think what you need to do is this, and this is how I approach it. So when I go out into the world, whether I'm going shopping or going to the beach or whatever I'm doing, I plan for the circumstances I want. So instead of just going out and saying, I hope the heck I don't run into insane people that don't know how to drive on the road and in the shops and whatever. Instead, I get ahead of my emotions and I say, okay, we're going out on the road. We're looking for people that are caring, kind, conscientious drivers, and politely move out of my way. And you know what? And I get to my destination and return home safely. I get the things I want or do the things I need to do. I'm surrounded by people that are really genuine, caring, and conscientious and compassionate people, whatever it is, right? So I get to decide what that is. So instead of going out there and just seeing what happens, and guess what? If people are going to make mistakes, which they will, and screw up and drive like maniacs or whatever, then I'm prepared, right? I don't have to, because guess what? There's confirmation bias. So if I go around thinking people are insane drivers and road ragers, I'm going to find them all the time. And I'll be like, there's another one. There's confirmed. Yes, I got 2 of them today.
Yeah, that's a great reminder. I mean, you just reminded me sometimes, you slip into that mode, and that's a good reminder, because I think, I mean, a lot of us, and I will admit, including myself, sometimes you slip into that mode.
Yeah. Well, get ahead of yourself. That's the thing. And so people can get ahead of themselves, not just with like the driving I was saying or the interaction with society, but even with their interactions. So even this interview, how do I get ahead of myself? Say, hey, I'm going to have a great interview. It's going to be amazing. Greg and Colin are going to love it. The audience is going to be amazing. They're going to come away with tools and resources. They're not going to be able to write notes fast enough. They're going to have to watch the replay, and it's going to be phenomenal. And people are going to be hitting me up for more feedback and solutions and tools and resources. That's a way of getting ahead of yourself. Right?
Yeah, I love it. I really like it. Colin, you got anything you got to say to Dan before we let him go?
Just some very wise points there, Dan. It's been a great education. Yeah.
So we've go ahead, Dan.
I was just going to say, it's just because I'm consistently learning. I don't watch television. I don't watch a lot of stuff. It's called Kaizen, actually, which is consistent, never-ending learning. So that's my approach in life.
I agree with you. I mean, totally. You make your own life basically on whether you're positive or negative. I mean, anybody can be anybody they want, depending on their attitude.
Yeah, you either get busy living or get busy dying. And if things are going down, things are going wrong, you know which path you're on.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Dan, I'd like to say we're going to have to ask you on again in a lot quicker than last time, just to get an update on how things are going and get a little bit more of your wisdom. I really like your lines. I mean, there's a couple there. I'm going to watch this. I'm going to have to write them down and put them on a sticky right in front of my computer. There have been some great lines, but we'd like to say thank you very much for coming on the show, and we will talk to you again real soon. And just for all you viewers, we put Dan's information up. We'll continue to put them up during the show, and make sure you use that old style pen and paper and write them all down and get a hold of Dan. Okay, Dan, thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Thanks, Dan.
Take care.
So that was, as you saw, Mr. Dan LeFave. What did you think? Pretty cool, eh?
I think Dan's great. Yeah, he's very down to earth, and you can understand what he's talking about.
Yep.
So he's got good karma.
He does, and you know what? I'd love to sit around a table, and I'm not sure if Dan enjoys beer, but I'd have one, and I'd love to sit around a table with that man for a while and pick his brain and share stories and different type of life experiences. He's just a joy, eh? He's just a bundle of energy, and he's got a great outlook on life. I like Mr. LeFave. Don't let him know, because he'll get a big head. But the Tourism brothers like him and all. But I think he's a pretty cool cat myself.
You can tell he's living by what he preaches. Like he's living his what he teaches, and it's working well for him.
Yeah. You can find this interview tomorrow on our award-winning live travel content travel website, ehCanadaTravel.com. You'll also be able to find this tomorrow and today. If you go to our Facebook Live, you'll get the live version, but tomorrow you'll get another version on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and Tumblr social media pages. Please share. In this day and age for entrepreneurs, and Dan, I sure will confirm this, everything's about sharing quality content. You share to your followers, we'll share to our followers, everybody wins. So please share, support Dan, support ehCanada, support tourism, and make sure you share this message out to all the tourism businesses out there, because a lot of them, and I can tell you this from experience, a lot of them would appreciate some of Dan's work and some of his teachings. And we want Dan to, we want to connect those people with Dan. So again,
there's something there for everybody to apply to their business and their life.
Yeah. And another thing, because we are such good guys and we are the largest privately operated tourism business in Canada, we are giving away free listings on our award-winning website right now to all the tourism businesses. So please go to our website, sign up for free, and we will start directing travelers as they come, as they go, as they plan, and as they book. We'll start directing those travelers directly to your website. We do not take a commission. We do not try to keep them on our website. We send them to your website because, hey, newsflash, tourism business personal websites are the best information source for their business. So we send them there. That's how it should be working. And we shouldn't be going through these corporate sites that are charging 13 to 18% for every booking. Support local businesses, put food on the table, keep them open, direct bookly through their websites. Yes, we are the same group, which was just awarded the best 2021 inbound travel and tourism marketing business in Canada. We won it at the 6th Annual Hospitality Awards in Europe, and we were recognized as one of the best in private tourism, going against a very tough industry that is heavily monopolized. We're pretty happy. We've been winning awards. That's our 5th one this year. I'm tooting and I'm hollering. We won the best community marketing program. We also won the best community marketing program in Canada and the best one in BC. So things are happening here. We're pretty proud of ourselves. We're very happy to have guests like our friend, Mr. Dan LeFave, and make sure you copy down his social media and his website, which we have been putting up. I'll put his website up there right now for all of you people. And that's the site to go, because that will have everything Dan. Everything Dan is on that website.
Dan Central.
Dan Central. So Junior, you want to tell our friends a little bit about real quickly what's next week, and then we will see you all next week, Tuesday, noon PDT. Every Tuesday at noon, we are live with a guest from around the world, and we got some we're booked 2-3 months in advance. We got some real cool guests, just as cool, if not, maybe not as cool, but Dan LeFave. That's what we got to do. So Colin, who's next week?
It's hard to tell really quickly when you keep going on like that.
I know. Well, that's what I do. That's what I do.
Next week, we have Red-Headed Patty, a.k.a. Patricia Barnes. She is an award-winning content marketing influencer. Join us right here.
Excellent. Yes, Patty will be coming with us next week. Red-Headed Patty, that's her tagline. And we're really excited to talk to her about some content marketing. Yeah. So we'd like to thank you all for joining us this week. We'd like to thank Mr. Dan LeFave for joining us this week. Please be